Hey guys, it's Fana, and thank you so much for watching. I am finally done all my secret projects! Woohoo! Ah, yes, finally. Project number 3 was a PokeFusion Swap hosted by Tenilograms on Instagram. As I said in my last video, which was also a swap, the way that it works is that I am given a partner who I make a doll for, and then someone also has me as a partner to make a doll for me. My partner was Absol+Zeraora, who selected Zeraora, Sylveon, Mega Absol, and Noivern. After some random designs that I sketched out, I finally settled on this one, which combined Zeraora and Mega Absol. I really wanted to highlight the electric aspects of Zeraora with lightning, and then have cool blasters that from like his big like mitten paw things, and all the floof from Absol. My partner really wanted a male doll, and because I am a sucker for punishment, I decided my hand at modding a girl doll into a boy. And I really wish I had just sacrificed one of my boy dolls because, oh my gosh, I wanted to die. Boy dolls are so hard to come by. And I was like, oh, this will be like cheaper. And by the time I my time and supplies, and I should have just used a boy doll. But I digress. I prepped this Persephone Monster High doll by taking off the factory paint and ripping out the hair. I took my handy dandy handsaw, which is fun to say, and I sawed the body in half, as well as took the feet off at the ankles and also the neck in like this weird like wedge thing. I mostly did this so that I could give the doll flat feet so he could stand up by himself and a wider, like more manly torso. I know that Delightful did this in her Litten video, and I kind of glanced at that, but being the mad scientist that I am, I watched it, went, okay, and just kind of did my own thing for better or for worse. What I did was I filled the two halves of the body with hot glue, making sure that there was enough layer by layer until I eventually stuck them together, and that's how I attached the other limbs to one another again. I began to sculpt the horns using epoxy sculpt and wire as an armature. Amateur? No. We'll see if I pronounce that right. I really wanted to give the doll a more masculine face, so I gave him a much larger nose, and I also sculpted a snarl, which is my pride and joy of this doll. The next thing to do was to sculpt the abs, which I did using a reference picture, multiple reference pictures, and praying to the abdominal gods that they would smile on me. And they kind of like looked at me and squinted and grimaced and like kind of waved their hands so I would walk away. But I felt I had to do abs because of course I had to design a shirtless doll because he had to be cool. Sculpting took a couple layers because the first ab attempt was pretty gnarly. And I also beefed up his arms and his legs, being careful to avoid the joints, and I didn't want to give big poofy, like, you know, problems. And I also sculpted him some clawed feet, which turned out huge. But he can actually stand up by himself when he feels like it. I love this doll so much. But once all his modifications were completely dried, I brought out a really cool Dremel kit that my dad loaned me. And I'm actually like super stoked about because it has all kinds of goodies in it and it's, yes, it was free to me, so, you know. But anyway, I sanded him down to get rid of any fingerprints and imperfections because there were a lot of them. After that, he got a couple layers of paint, and I originally used this base doll because she matched the skin tone that I wanted for the doll, but, you know, I didn't think about the fact that I was completely modding the body, and that everything would be white from epoxy when I was done. So, you know, A+ on my part for thinking ahead. The horns and the feet got paint as well, and everything got several layers of sealant to make sure that it was good and packed in there. Okay, the horns I'm actually really happy with because I got this really cool shimmer effect using my micro glitter, and I'm just really happy with how they turned out. I know that Zeraora has lightning marks on his cheeks, but I was thinking of like really cool fan art that I've seen of Harry Potter where instead of like the weird like zigzag that he has in the movie, his lightning scar actually looks like realistic lightning. So I thought that'd be really awesome to do across the doll's side. And I used a watercolor pencil to draft it out and then some bright acrylic paint to really make it pop. After spraying the head twice with Mr. Super Clear, it was time for his face up. I used watercolor pencils and acrylic paint to give him a really hard and edgy look, but really he kind of just looks really pissed off, and I love it. I decided to forego my usual white highlights in the eyes because I thought he looked like really cool without it. I didn't want him to turn cutesy all of a sudden. And you know what? I absolutely adore how his face mods turned out, especially the snarl. I love the snarl. It made up for the body mods. It really did. But with a final spray of MSC and some gloss to the lips and the corners of the eyes, the face is complete. Alright, on to the clothes. I had some synthetic white fur, so I made him a really simple removable ruff for his neck. It's just a strip of fabric and a clasp on the back. The simplest piece of clothing that I've ever made. I wish it all was that easy. But it's not! So I wanted the doll to have big harem pants or whatever they're called, and after an attempt or two from like a pattern that I kind of was like, this is a pattern, I was able to get a pair that I liked is a loose term, and I somehow got it over his big goony goo goo feet. Don't know how that happened, but thanks, fabric gods. So I might have taken a lighter to the pants for the lightning scorch marks, which I did very carefully. Very carefully. I'm a professional. Probably should have done that before it was on the doll's body, but you know, you live and you learn. It wouldn't have fit back over his feet, I'm sure. His wings were the hardest part of his outfits. Wings, scarf, I don't really know. But Absol has wings, so I thought, oh, I can make a really cool armature. Again. With fabric, like a really cool like wire with a fabric casing of like really cool, super jagged wings. And that didn't work. Yeah. So instead, I went for the scarf approach that Zeraora has, which I used some pre-wired ribbon, and I just kind of like took a length and crushed it in my hand, and then I got my candle with fire, and I burnt the heck out of this scarf for scorch marks, for the aesthetic. And I did this very carefully, yet again, because professional. I had drilled a hole in the middle of the doll's back, and I stuck the scarf's wings in, and they stayed really well without falling off, so I didn't glue them to secure them, because I thought having the option for his owner to, like, remove them was a good idea for some reason. His hair was pretty simple. It was just brushed out yarn to make wefts that I curled and then cut to have shoulder-length hair. You guys have seen me do this a million times. I made sure to style it so it covered his one eye, kind of like Absol does. You know, for a while, I decided not to worry about his blasters, and I'd convinced myself that, like, he doesn't need blasters. He really doesn't. But, of course, in the last few minutes, like, literally right before I was about to pack him up to send to his owner, I decided that he did need to have at least one. What I ended up doing was I rolled a piece of craft foam around his forearm to make a barrel that I could slide in and out of. And then I added his little claw thingies from my design and painted the whole business. And with that, I have the PokeFusion of Absora. And he was all ready to go to his new home. I really wanted to keep this doll. I did. But Dolls R Us 93 really loved him, which made me so happy. And I just want to thank Tenilograms for hosting this swap, and I will be sure to list all the artists who participated down below in the description. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe. Check out my Instagram fanastyfinder for whips and other shenanigans, especially in my story. You'll be able to find those. I hope you have a phenomenal day and keep being extraordinary. Bye!